All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. All right, hold on. All right, this workshop is going to be about the 4C's of trusted leadership. So it's going to be about being a leader worth following. My name is Melany Mora. I'm the Florida Vice President from District 6. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive into the 4C's of trusted leadership. So that's going to be about character, competency, chemistry, and credibility. This workshop, you're going to be learning about the best version of yourself and being someone that others want to follow. All right, so I want to start off with you guys typing in the chat some traits that come to mind when you think of the perfect leader. I'm hoping Ronnie can help me out with sharing some of you guys' answers.
All right, let's see. We got trustworthy, organized, strong-willed.
All right, awesome.
Practice what they preach, collaborative, honest, confident. These are great.
Yeah. All right, so I think we can all agree that these traits can go into a great leader. And some of you guys may already have these traits and apply them when you're leading your teams and chapters, which is great. Now we're going to switch over and start talking about the first C, which is, let's see if we can. There we go. All right, it's going to be character. All right. So character sometimes is confused with integrity. While they're very similar, integrity is about being able to say, oh, I didn't do anything wrong, whereas character is going out of your way to do something right. So it's not necessarily just letting someone do whatever. It's about you going out of your way and saying, no, this is wrong. I'm going to go ahead and do the right thing. So your true character shows through your principle and what you do when no one is watching. So it's, do you stand up for the right thing? Do you not? Being a leader with good character isn't about putting on a persona around others. It's about following your own set of moral guidelines. It's what makes you authentic, even if you fail at what you originally set out to do. It's about having the ability to say that you tried, because it's always better to have tried than never have tried in the first place. I think we can all agree that character is something really important because it's something that makes you unique, and it makes you different from everyone else. Your character is yourself. You definitely want that because it earns respect for the people who are around you when they see that this is who you really are. So I put Superman here because I think he is probably like one of the most authentic people to say that is a good character. He's always sticking up for the right thing. So I just wanted to go ahead and put him there. All right, so I want to go ahead and open the chat again. So I want to do a poll of if you prefer iPhones or Androids, and Ronnie, you can help me out with that one again.
Okay. Let's see. I think at the moment iPhones is winning. We have one Android.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Any more?
I'm seeing mostly iPhones, babe.
All right. Okay, so now we do that little poll. All right, so we've all seen the battle between iPhone users and Android users. There isn't a wrong or right answer. It's totally your personal preference. While I personally may prefer iPhones, someone can easily disagree with me. Some of you guys even typed Android. You guys have your personal reasons why you might even have one. So Some may tell me they prefer it because of their camera quality over my iPhone's quality. And instead of disagreeing with their opinion, which I might, you need to be able to understand and value their opinion. So just because you think their answer is wrong doesn't mean that they think that same way. So you need to be able to differentiate your perspective from others. So we see many disagreements when working with a team. You guys may have experienced your own team conflict where you guys just weren't seeing eye to eye. And it's a completely normal process when you have two different people working together who have really different opinions. But that's the important thing to keep in mind when building character is being able to see that everyone's opinions and answers are valid and do have significance. So it's not just about yours, it's about everyone. It's what makes everyone work cohesively and and makes an environment really safe to share opinions, and that's what we all are striving for. So you don't want to shoot someone down because they disagree with you, but you want to grow together, and that's what is really going to elevate your leadership and personal skills. All right, so before I move on to the next C, which is competency, I want to make sure that you guys don't have any questions so far about character or any of that. Ronnie, we all good?
I think we have one hand raised.
All right, you can share your question. I can go ahead and answer it for you if you have one.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, so you said that character defined by what you do when
I'm
nobody.
having a little bit of trouble hearing your audio. I don't know if you want to go ahead and type in your question in the chat, or if Ronnie can hear you.
Okay, I'll fix that.
Okay,
There we
I
go.
got it
That's
out. There we go. Awesome.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to ask, you said character represents something you do when nobody's looking, right?
Yeah, so it's about what you do on your own, what like your own values and morals are. So what is your character? Are you only putting on a persona for like a fake person that you only put on around other people so that so that they think you're this good person? Or are you truly that person who really sticks out for other people? Are you the person that goes and talks to the bully and goes, hey, stop doing this? That's your character, if that answers your question.
Okay,
All
I
right.
just want to know.
All
Thank
right,
you.
yeah. Yeah, no problem. All right, so we're gonna move on to competency. So now you guys know a little bit more about developing your character and being someone who can motivate others just by being authentic. We're gonna jump into competency, and competency is about having that knowledge, skills, and ability for a particular role. It's having what it takes to accomplish the goals you choose or are charged with. I think a really good way to identify competency is through what you actually accomplish, your follow through into what you initially set out to do. So it's not necessarily your idea and your game plan to actually do it, it's your final result. So what you actually came up with, like your proof that you actually did this, that's what your competency is. And here's like a self-assessment. So just to assess your own competency, like these are some questions that you can ask yourself. So what skills and knowledge do you have? And how are you able to fill this role? These are just some questions you want to continuously ask yourself when you're going into a new class, when you're going into a new position, when you're leaving high school, like all of these things that you need to fill a role. Like what skills and knowledge do you have? Can I do this? You never want to doubt yourself, and this is a really good way to doing that, just asking yourself these two questions. Now, a good way to build competency, you want to have an adaptable mindset in which you are always aware to changes and ready for them. When being a leader, we're always going to experience challenges, but it's what you do to overcome them and prove yourself that shows competency. You always want to have what is called an intern mindset. When you think of an intern, you think of someone who is new, young, and still has a lot to learn. You want to always have that learning mentality, wherever you go, just constantly wanting to improve yourself and absorb all the knowledge you can get. Do you guys have any questions so far about that?
No questions, babe. I think you're good.
All right, awesome. All right, so my next one is chemistry. So now when we move on to chemistry, chemistry is something that can be like your first connection you have with someone. We always want to strive for that easy connection where you hit it right off the bat, just an instant connection, but that's not always the case because chemistry isn't always guaranteed. Some people are harder to reach than others. That's why you always want to have to be mindful of your first impressions because that first impression is what gonna get others to judge you. So like your first impression, you meet someone for the first time, just like an interview, that's what they're judging you off of. That's like your one shot. And sometimes you don't get a chance to redeem yourself. So you always want to really put everything out there on the first impression. Just put what you want to put out there. Put the best version of yourself. A really important part about understanding chemistry is when working with the team, you always want to strive towards a good team chemistry because it makes everyone work more productive and feel like they're in a better environment just by getting along. So I say you're going to know when you have it when your team members get along and have loyalty to each other while working towards that same goal. And I hope you guys enjoy my little meme where it's one simply does not make the dream work without the teamwork. And that is the truth. All right, and I have a quick video that's going to show you guys a little bit about chemistry and how just things move cohesively when you guys are all working together.
Oh.
All right, so I don't know about some of you guys, but I thought that video was really cool because it was really satisfying to watch and it really showed like a good connection between the team and it made the whole video just really come together really cohesively because of that chemistry and working together. So now I just want you guys to go down the chat and just what can you do to build team chemistry? Any answers in the chat so far?
Yeah, you can talk about your interests.
That's true. I always like having like a icebreaker, get to know you. What were you saying, Ronnie?
I said bonding.
Bonding, yeah, definitely.
Icebreakers, trust activities are always great.
Definitely. All right, yeah, so those are all really good ways to build team chemistry. If you guys come up with any more ideas, you can feel free to drop them down in the chat. You guys can always take this back to your chapter, do all the icebreakers. You guys know when you meet someone, those are really easy just to build that connection, have fun, getting to know each other. All right, so down to the last C, which is credibility. It's the quality of being trusted and believed in. So credibility, you're gonna always wanna have that belief where you're inspiring it. And that definitely comes from just being honest. You being honest with your team being honest with you, and that's double-sided honesty. Just having a clear flow of communication wherever you go, that's really just gonna give you great credibility. You're gonna wanna give what you get and lead by example. So you're gonna wanna do more, you're gonna wanna lead how you want. So if you want others to view you in a way, you're gonna wanna lead that way. You're going to want to lead by the example you want the rest of your team to. And that comes from building trust. Your team isn't going to follow you without trusting you. And that's where it really comes into the trusted leadership. So we're going to go down on how to build trust. It doesn't always happen initially, and it's hard to get at sometimes because we don't always trust people right off the bat. It's just having the ability to inspire someone and being someone worth following, which comes through character. And then you also want competency, being able to do it, having that background to do it, knowing you're able to fill that role, and other people trusting you because you are competent enough to do it, and showing that character right besides it, where you are a good person, you're someone they trust to lead. So sometimes you can't always get people to trust you. So that's why I wrote down, you cannot make someone trust you. You can only live a life that is trustworthy and lacks judgment of others. So you never want to judge others or anything, because you want to set an example for them to one day trust you. You never want to be looked upon as a way that is negative. And that's how you build trust. Whether or not they trust you is ultimately up to them, but you can never give them a reason not to. And that's what really makes a good leader. And a good way to do that is by being true to your work, communicating effectively, having that open form of communication between you and your team, building trust gradually, knowing that it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to happen slowly over time through those icebreakers, through those bonding activities, getting to know each other, being honest, having that open form of communication, never lying or doing anything that is going to make you one up your team. You guys need to be viewed as equal. You guys are working collaboratively, and that's what's really important when you're leading. You're going to always want to do what you believe is right. So having that moral compass, having a moral guideline, that's going to help others. You're going to want to help others through your leadership. That's ultimately the goal. And that's what being trusted leadership is. All right, so that's the end of my presentation. I guys really want you guys to take away some things about being a really good leader, which is having that character, being a good moral compass, and having the competency, always having that self-assessment, checking on yourselves, making sure you're the best version of yourself, getting that chemistry where you're always relying on those good connections. That's really what's going to get you far. And if you guys have any questions, you guys are free to drop in the chat or unmute yourselves. I'd love to talk to some of you guys. All right, so I see one of you guys has your hand raised. You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask, so besides the ways you already mentioned, is there other ways to build trust?
Definitely, it's about yourself and how everyone's kind of different in how you build trust. Some people, like I said, it takes time. So sometimes it's you showing them that you're trustworthy by constantly being consistent in what you do, never deviating or doing anything that is like crazy or anything like that, like something that you want other people to view you as. So you don't want to do anything out of the line and have somebody view you than what you actually are, because then that can really change up your character and all of that. So you want to have that trust, and building that trust is through all those ways I told you. You can add consistency in there. It depends on the person ultimately. Do you guys have any ways that we can all be trustworthy? If you guys want to drop those down in the chat, I'd love to hear them, because there's so many ways that you can build someone's trust. I think I saw some other hand raised, or if you wanted to keep adding to what you were saying. Yep, you can go ahead and.
Oh, thank you. Maybe a way somebody could build trust could be, if you're in a group project and you have a certain assignment to do, it'd be important to make sure you get that assignment done on time, and that could build trust with your team members.
Yeah, definitely. Just like when you're turning an assignment for class, you're building the trust of your teacher by knowing that you're going to get that assignment done. These are all just things that if you consistently do them, people are going to grow to trust you.
Okay.
Yeah, and like Tori said in the chat about how Oliver was talking about being open-minded and not judgmental, that's really important when going into trusted leadership because you never want to be closed-minded as a leader. That can lead to first, like, initial judgments that you just don't want. So you always want to have that open mind and always being the best version of yourself, never judging someone before you actually get to know them is really important. And I know it can be hard sometimes to not judge people right off the bat, but you always want to let room for others to grow and change their impression.
Okay. Just want to know.
Yeah, thank you for participating.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, so I see some other people have their hands raised. You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like.
Hi.
Hi.
So when you talked about like doing the group projects and having the icebreakers, like I know sometimes students are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do like this group project and I'm just gonna sit here. Is there like a way, like some icebreakers or something that could get students excited about doing group projects or like, yeah, woohoo, projects?
I feel like incentives are never wrong. Yeah, so at my chapter, what we do a lot of is kind of a point system where you're always getting something at the end, whether it's a prize. We have like fake money where we give out and you can go out to the cart and it just kind of adjusts to your school and what you guys have to offer. If you guys have like little DECA merch, you guys can offer that for doing stuff or like little competitions within yourself. Because I mean, DECA, the heart of DECA is competing. So you can add that into like everything you do practically. And I think those are some pretty cool ways. I like some icebreakers, like Cahoots and all those. Like those are pretty fun because they get to like use technology and it's kind of a competition within yourself because you get to be on the leadership, the poll up there. And I think those are pretty fun to do.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So I see somebody in the chat said, how can we increase participation in both large and smaller projects? It's hard not just give in and do other works when the work has to get done. Okay, so you can increase participation in both large and smaller projects by that same way. It's just a way of how you go about it. So you can, for participation in smaller groups, you might want to do individual, like getting people's like blood flowing, like larger groups the same way. What we like to do for participation, we sometimes like to play music, get the beat started off. If you guys ever been to like some of the DECA state conferences, that's exactly how it is, where you just get the music flowing, pump it up, get people really excited to participate and get excited what they're about to do. Smaller projects can be the exact same thing. You can do little competitions with them themselves, which I find pretty cool. And those are just some things that you can do to kind of incentivize some of the members. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question fully. I can kind of help to answer it more. And I think someone else has their hand raised. You can unmute yourself if you do have a question. All right, awesome. So do you guys have anything you guys want to talk about? Any like tips that you can do to incentivize? Here we got somebody's on at the chat. So where team members may not pull their weight. So I feel like a lot of people have experience with this. Sometimes we do have people where you're doing more than the others. So you're just kind of want to pull their attention more. So maybe asking them what they'd be more interested in doing, what I love to do, or kind of some feedback surveys. So at the end of like everything I do, I want to have like some feedback so I can grow from it. So some surveys, some polls of what they liked and didn't like to really incentivize those like smaller groups of people. If they're not pulling their weight, sometimes that's hard to change. The most you can do is really just do all that motivation, get the incentives out there, and see if they respond to that, see if anything you can do personally will help them. Maybe change up who they're working with. Sometimes has that effect as well. Yeah, so I think those should help. Really focus on that, like feedback is something really important, and it can help you a lot when dealing with those things. All right, I see another hand raised. You can feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like. You're welcome. Down in the chat, okay. So Oliver, did you have a question? I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I did have a pretty quick question. So like you talked about building trust and things like that and doing small icebreakers, but let's say you get like a group of people together to form a team, and you have a deadline that's approaching like pretty quickly and it's a pretty like fast-paced, I guess, job you could say. What would you say would be like the best way to build like a good team connection and quick trust, even though it's like a very short amount of time? Because some things I think have like some longevity to them, and I was just wondering like how you could speed that process up, maybe.
So for building trust, it's like I said before, trust is kind of a thing that you gradually build sometimes. It's really important to have like those really good first connections, because those impressions are gonna like take you a long way. So if you have something that's like kind of short on time, you wanna really just speed up the process. You can do like a lot of more like bonding, things like that. If you want to just like go over your questions so I don't miss out on answering anything, I would really appreciate that.
No, I think it's okay. Yeah, you answered it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right, so is it Zofia that has a question? I see a hand raised, not sure.
Sorry, I forgot to lower it.
Oh, okay, no, it just kept popping up on my screen, so I wasn't sure. No, you're perfectly fine. Do any of you guys have any more questions? All right, awesome. It was great hearing from you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining in and hearing my presentation. Your questions were amazing. I hope I answered them well. And you guys should totally stick around for Shivam, whose presentation is next.